I'm Tim Andrews from the Taxpayers Protection Alliance in Washington, DC, and I'm here in New Delhi with Bhuvana, who is the Research Director of the Centre for Civil Society, a leading think tank here in India. So thank you for taking a few minutes to speak with me, Bhuvana.
Pleasure, Tim. Thank you for having me.
So one of the things that I noticed travelling to India is the fact that your government recently decided to ban completely vaping products like e-cigarettes, which are being used all over the world by people who wanted to quit smoking so they could actually quit smoking, because this is a technology that is 95% safer than traditional combustible tobacco. So can you tell us what actually happened? What was your government thinking?
Who knows what the Indian government is thinking more often than not. This is not the first time that the policy response from ban has been employed. It's happened in the case of alcohol, it's happened in the case of course, tobacco products, it's happened in the case of books. We tend to employ bans very willy-nilly. This isn't one type of government that does it. And governments of all hues and shades across the country have used this at different times for typically sort of political ends, or for the typical bootleggers and Baptists kind of conundrum solving. So this is true, this is what has happened with vaping. I think that two issues that arose. One is the challenge that the Indian government has known about vaping and has in fact accepted it into the discourse for a long time before responding with a ban. I think one thing that played on the government's mind was the THC-related deaths in the US. And the second is the argument that typical international governments apply, which is of it's a gateway drug for young people and they're going to switch, even though we know research debunks that.
And of course, and the THC vapes have nothing to do with nicotine vaping.
Of course.
So you said bootleggers and Baptists. Is there something in particular with the tobacco industry here that, so who are the bootleggers and Baptists here?
Oh, the bootleggers and Baptists. I mean, it doesn't apply one-to-one, but interestingly, the Indian government holds stakes in one of the largest tobacco players in the country, which is the ITC. And so for them to take a position of competitive neutrality is just, it doesn't make any sense.
So
right?
the ITC, that's
the Indian Tobacco Company.
And that's owned by the government?
It's not owned by the government, but the government has enormous investments in state.
Okay.
It used to be completely owned.
But they still have stakes.
Very much. They're very much a market player in the tobacco.
So by banning vaping, the government will now be helping its business not only through taxes, but because they have investments in tobacco.
And moreover, tobacco products are one of the highest tax products in India. And so it's already part of the, the political economy of how this plays out.
So what are you seeing as because this is only a few weeks old, what are you seeing as the results of this already? Are you seeing people change their behavior and take up smoking again, or?
So I think two or three things. One is, it's too soon to tell if people will take up smoking. But I do know plenty of people who tried to make the shift and who had made the shift to vaping and had reported enormous lifestyle differences as a result of making that switch. They now are forced to go back to smoking. So it's very early to tell if en masse there is going to be an increase, but I know from anecdote that plenty of people have switched. And it's just unnecessarily made their lives difficult. One interesting thing I was thinking about as we were discussing last night is that India also has really bad air pollution. People already have many problems with respiratory disorders, right? And so in this particular, imagine you're a smoker in a bad environment, and here is at least one way out that you had with, say, a cigarette, and now that's gone to you as well. So you're sort of condemned to suffer, because we know it's not an easy habit to break. We know it's not as simple as quitting. Yes, some people do it, but many people end up being lifelong habitual users, right? For those people, there is no way out.
So do you think there's a chance of changing this anytime in the near future?
So I'm not optimistic. Two things. One is that the government is tabling a bill. Thus far what's happened is it's sort of executive enforced ban more than anything else. But a bill is being tabled in Parliament that will officially make this the law of the land. The government has invited comments from everyone, part of the open consultation process. How that consultation will play out, we don't know, because the government always does consultations, but we never know who actually provided feedback and how that feedback was incorporated. Just also a side note is that with this ban or with the bill, there is no cost-benefit analysis whatsoever. They rely on studies that are from elsewhere. And of course, course, evidence from other places is useful, but we have no basis to be able to say that in India this is a problem, or in India we must be taking this kind of a stand. So it's entirely knee-jerk, it's entirely sort of unscientific and ad hoc policy making, and it absolutely cares two hoots about smokers, about human beings, right, who are making these life choices, trying to give their health a fighting chance, and you just sort of
But there still may be a chance during the consultation process that they can still change their mind before it becomes final legislation.
Yes. So one good thing in India is that public pressure does tend to work, and oftentimes there will be an executive ban, then there will be a bill that comes up that says, hey, the ban is necessary, and there will be a rollback, or the bill will be passed and then there will be a rollback. This is all of the perils of making policies without sort of thinking through things right at the start.
So, well, that's at least some sliver of optimism that maybe we can
mobilize
the people who think their lives have been saved by vaping and try and get them to pressure the government. Well, thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure.
Pleasure to speak to you as always.
Thank you for having me.